Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at something that I've been meaning to do for a while and decided to pull the trigger on it today because the item that I'm about to show you and that we're going to use in the video went on sale, so what better time. So what we're actually going to be doing today is opening a deck of these Pokemon cards, and it's a Mystic Typhoon deck, part of the Flash Fire series, I think. It's got a big picture of a Meowstic on the front. I'm not sure if Meowstic is from 6th generation or 5th, but I know I've seen it a lot in must be 6th generation since it's got X and Y on it, the Flash Fire series like I was talking about. So unlike booster packs for the Pokemon trading card game, it's not random cards in the box, it's this list here, which we won't look at for too long since I want it to be mostly a surprise when we go through it. Obviously we have a Meowstic in the front here. But yeah, we're just going to go through this deck and see what's in it. So I'm going to read this blurb. It never rains, but it pours for your opponent when you bring the Mystic Typhoon theme deck to battle. Muddle your opponent's minds with Meowstic's ear influence attack, and turn a tide of damage upon them with Warrine's Big Tusk. Keep the energy flowing with Melodic Sacrificial Energy Grace ability, and dig up more cards to create the perfect storm with a Fart's Buried Treasure Hunt before unleashing waves of fury boosted by the Muscle Band Trainer card. Can anyone weather your storms? And that just tells us what's in the deck, and we've got a nice picture of Warrine here and a Furfrou. Warrine was always a pretty cool Pokemon, nice and bulky, and one of the most decent ice Pokemon. So, without further ado, we'll open this bad boy up. Which way is the least destructive way to open this, do you reckon? I was thinking from the side, because it doesn't look like the top actually opens. The bottom maybe. I guess it's the side. It seems to be the weakest point. Now, I don't actually play the Pokemon trading card game. I collected the first series when I was a kid, and haven't really done much with it since. But these were pretty cheap, and there's a lot of cards to go through, and I love watching other creators go through their Pokemon or Magic the Gathering card collections. So it looks like we do actually... oh no, it's a deck box. I was getting really excited then, thought we did get some boosters in it. So I've pretty much destroyed that box, but I have no use for it anyway, so it doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, as I was saying, I love watching other ASM artists do their unboxings and card collection videos about Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, and it was definitely something I was interested in doing myself. And in fact, I do have my folder of original Pokemon trading cards somewhere locked up in storage. So if I can find those, we'll go through the original cards. I didn't collect them all, but I collected a fair few of them. So that'll be good to go through, I think. Oops, I dropped the coin. Just bear with me a second. There we go. Alright. So we got a cool Charizard Y, Mega Charizard Y head on that side, and the Pokemon logo and the Pokeball on that side. So it's sort of like a bit rubbery. Oh no, it's just plastic. And then reflective Mega Charizard Y on that side, which is pretty cool. So I guess you use that in-game for doing damage and status calculations. I've tried playing the Pokemon card game before online. I played the online version and it was pretty fun, but there's a lot to remember and too much strategy for me. I'm not that good at card fighting games. So I'll have a look at these Mystic cards. There we go. So we've got a holographic Mystic here. It's got 90 HP and it's Psychic type. And let's have a look at its attacks. So it's got Ear Influence. Move as many damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon as you like to any of your opponent's other Pokemon in any way you like. So that's a pretty handy attack, I think. Moving some damage counters around onto, say, some bulkier Pokemon that you can't do much damage to. And then we have Psychic that costs 3 energies and does 60 plus damage. So it does 10 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So I could rack up a fair few damage counters then. And what's this? So I can use this card to unlock a deck online. Alright, well, I don't really play this, so someone can use that. But that's pretty cool. So you can buy it in real life and then get it in the online game as well. So it's a pretty cool Mystic card. I personally wouldn't base a team around Mystic. It's good for setting up status and that kind of thing in the actual game. With I think it gets Prankster. Status and screens, it's good for setting up. Not a great attacker though, or a lead. But we'll move on to see what's in the rest of this pack. So it feels like all the cards are in this Mystic deck box, which is very nice. Very sleek, nice noises. So we'll have a look at that last. This is some information about the new expansion, I think, which this expansion's pretty old now, which is why it was on sale. That's information about Mega Evolution Pokemon. It says, Mega Evolution Pokemon represent a new peak of evolution. These cards turn a Pokemon EX into an even more powerful Pokemon. Knowing the right time to play these Pokemon will be the key to new strategies. You can see there's who's this? Who's that Pokemon? Oh, it's Charizard. Charizard, Mega Charizard X and Mega Charizard Y. I personally played X because I like the X version of Charizard better, but I like the Y version of Mewtwo better. So that was annoying. Special rules for Mega Evolution Pokemon. It says, just like EX, which stands for Mega. No, sorry, the M. Just like EX, the M, which stands for Mega, is part of a Mega Evolution Pokemon's name. Thus, Mega Kangaskhan EX and Kangaskhan EX have different names, and you can have up to 4 of each in your deck if you wish. So there's a picture of Mega Kangaskhan EX. Notice that Mega Kangaskhan EX evolves from Kangaskhan EX. This means you can only evolve Mega Kangaskhan EX from Kangaskhan EX, not regular Kangaskhan. Also, Mega Evolution Pokemon are a new stage, Mega. These cards count as evolution cards, and all the normal rules for evolution apply to Mega Pokemon. Mega Evolution Pokemon. There are 2 special rules for Mega Evolution Pokemon. Since they are still Pokemon EX, when one of them is knocked out, your opponent takes 2 prize cards, as opposed to 1. Also, when one of your Pokemon becomes a Mega Evolution Pokemon, your turn ends, so if you Mega Evolve, that's the end of your turn. Make sure you've done everything else you want to do on your turn before you play one of these powerful Pokemon. What does that say? How's the flavor text on that Charizard there? When one of your Pokemon becomes a Mega Evolution, your turn ends. Fair enough. So those are some new rules for the Mega Evolutions that they introduced after Gen 6 came out. So this is the list of Flashfire expansion cards. So there's a lot of cards in this new expansion. Well, old expansion. And we have some cardboard damage counters. I think this one means poison, possibly. It wouldn't mean dead because if it was, fainted, because if it was fainted you'd just remove it, wouldn't you? So it must be poisoned. I'm not sure what this one is. Really not sure. So we have a bunch of 10s, a couple of 50s and 100. Because not many Pokemon can take 100 damage and live. The damage counters that we had, back in the day, were little blue and red gem things that sat on the cards. So I had a little bag of them. Again, I never played the game, but it was cool to collect and look at. And I had a like a price guide for how much each card was worth, which I enjoyed looking at as a kid. Always focused on money, even back then. Alright, so here's our play area mat, I think. This is going to be enormous. So, maybe I won't unfold it all the way. We'll see if it fits. Not particularly. Yeah, no, it's not going to fit with the setup that I have at the moment. And there's some status conditions. So basically, you have one active Pokemon out at a time, and then you have as many on the bench as 6, possibly. And you attach an energy to your active Pokemon or your bench Pokemon. And when you have the energy requirements as set out on the card, you can attack. And if you knock out one of your opponent's Pokemon, you take a prize card. So at the start of the battle you give 6 cards as prizes. And when you take the last prize, you win. Or you can also win by having them having to draw a card, but they don't have any in their deck left. So there's a couple of ways you can win. And now we get to the good part of the video, if I can get it to focus. There we go. Alright. So we'll skip over most of the energies, because there's a few energies in here. Right at the front as well. And let's see what we've got. So we've got Psychic Energy, so we've got 4 psychic energies to start off with. Then we have a Skrelp, which is actually pretty cool. I've been meaning to use Dragalge in Pokemon Showdown. 50 HP, that's pretty good for a Skrelp. It's a little basic Pokemon. And it's got a move called Spit Poison. That, I think it's still out of focus, so I can't read it properly. Okay. It says, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. So it doesn't actually do damage, it just poisons. And it's not even guaranteed. So that's a Pokemon you'd probably want to evolve pretty quick. We have Pokemon Center Lady. Hang on, I'll put this down here. Pokemon Center Lady, which says heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. So that's a pretty handy card. Is she giving a doll to the nurse? There's real Pokemon that need help and you're wasting your time with a doll. Come on, kid. Next we have an Esper, which I think Esper evolves into Meowstic, doesn't it? I never really used one. They look similar, so I think they must. And it's got a Psy Shot that does 10 damage, and a Fake Out, which flinches? No, paralyzes. Okay, there is no flinch in the card game, so it paralyzes if you get heads. Fake Out is one of my least favourite moves. It's very strong in the competitive metagame. Yeah, there we go. There's another Meowstic, a regular one. And as you can see, it does evolve from Esper there, up in the top corner. And then we have a Water Energy, just one. And a Celio. So it evolves from Spheal, which is a cute ball of a seal Pokemon. We have a Celio, which gets some pretty good bulk, 90 HP. And Rest, which heals 60 damage, but puts it to sleep. And Ice Ball takes a few energies, but does 60 damage. So that's overall not a bad Pokemon, if you can get the energies on it. Then we have another Psychic Energy, and a Melodic, which I love Melodic. Melodic is so cool. So it's very bulky, 100 HP. Evolves from a Phoebus, which everyone should be familiar with if they've been watching my Nuzlocke challenge videos. And it actually has an ability. So it says Energy Grace. Oops, sorry. Once during your turn, before your attack, you may knock out this Pokemon. If you do, attach 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, excluding Pokemon EX. So I guess if it's low on health and you want your energies back, you can use its ability. It's a bit sacrificial. Poor old Melodic. But I suppose it'd be good to get your energies back. Next we have Rollerskates, which is flip a coin. If heads, draw 3 cards. So that's not bad. It's not guaranteed draw though. Next we have a Phoebus. That's some pretty cool looking art actually. I've always loved the art in the Pokemon cards. So it says surprise attack, flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. Sounds familiar. Phoebus doing nothing. 30 HP as well. So you'd really want to evolve that one quick. We have a Sentret with actually not bad HP, 50. That's pretty good. Scratch and Tail Smack. So that would be a good low level Pokemon to send out early in the match, I think. Can't deal out too much damage, but low cost. And if you've got nothing better, why not? Next we've got a Dusclops, which is really cool. I like Dusclops, but it doesn't hit hard enough in the game, and it's not as bulky as it should be. It's sort of average at everything. It's good for spreading status though. So it's got Confuse Ray, which always hits apparently. And Cursed Drop. Put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. That's also a pretty handy one, so it doesn't actually deal direct damage. Makes them damage themselves and then shifts around damage counters. It's pretty expensive to use that one though. I don't know if it'll last 3 turns to get the energy on it. With only 80 HP. You'd have to set it up on the bench. And we've got a Buizel, which floats was always pretty cool. So it's got, let me just put these down a bit so you can see the whole card. There we go. Whoops. So it's got 60 HP, not too bad. And Water Gun and Quick Attack. So it's a pretty standard Pokemon. Low cost. Pretty decent HP for a stage 1 or a basic. We've got another Water Energy. And we've got a Pokemon Fan Club, which says, I have to bring it forward so I can read it. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. So that's a good way to get some basic Pokemon if all you've got are evolved. Too bad you have to show them though. But I guess it makes sense as the Pokemon Fan Club likes showing off their Pokemon. So here we have a cute little Miltank. Powerful friends. If you have any stage 2 Pokemon on your bench, this attack does 70 more damage. That's quite a strange attack. A lot of bulk. 100 HP. Hammer in. No secondary effects. So it seems like a pretty good Pokemon to send out when you have stage 2 Pokemon on the bench and want to get some damage off. So next we have a Duskull, which I always thought I loved the design of. A little floating ghost skull. So it's got Revival, which says put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto his or her bench. I'm not sure what the strategy would be there. Unless you have a opponent's active Pokemon. No, I have no idea what the strategy would be on Revival. I was going to say unless you just put a weak Pokemon on their bench and knock it out with something that can attack Pokemon on the bench, but you'd have to swap out the Duskull and they might evolve it or something. Seems strange. We've got Psychic and Water Energies. And we have a Professor Sycamore, which says discard your hand and draw 7 cards. So I think that's the replacement for Professor Oak. And here we have this Spheal. As a basic Pokemon that has a lot of HP. An Ice Ball does 20 damage with 2 energies. That's not a bad Pokemon. It can take a lot more hits than it can deal out, unfortunately. But here we have the Walrein with a massive 150 HP. Powder Snow that does 60 damage and puts them to sleep. And a 4 energy move called Big Tusk. This attack does 120 damage, minus 10 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So it's health based, which is, well, I guess it's alright since he has so much HP, but becomes less useful over time. We have another Celio. Another Esper. That might be all the unique Pokemon. Water Energy. Got a Muscle Band, which says the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to Do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So just boost your attack by 20, I think. I wonder how long it lasts. Attach a Pokemon tool to one of your Pokemon that doesn't already have a Pokemon tool attached to it. What does the bottom say there? It just says you can play as many item cards as you want. I wonder how long this lasts. I guess until the Pokemon fades. That's a pretty good card then. And we have another Spheal. And a Furfrou. With 90 HP, that's pretty good. Furfrou's always typically defensive. It's got a move called Tight Jaw. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. And Sharp Fang just does 50 damage. We got a Psychic Energy. Professor's Letter. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So it's a good way to get energies. Another Water. Another Skrelp. I really hope I have a Dragalge. Another Pokemon Center Lady. Another Sentret. Another Pokemon Fan Club. Another Water Energy. Another Spheal. Another Duskull. Rollerskate. Psychic Energy. Miltank. Phoebus. Water Energy. There we go. A Fart. Buried Treasure Hunt. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put 2 of them into your hand. Discard the other cards. So that's a hit and miss, that one. Slam, flip 2 coins. This attack does 30 damage times the number of heads. So you could end up doing no damage if you're not careful. There's another Buizel. It's probably Buizel. That makes more sense, because it floats. Might have been pronouncing that wrong my entire time of knowing that Pokemon. That's the way it goes, I guess. So we've got a Spheal. Alright, this is a new one. Evosoda. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon. This counts as evolving that Pokemon. Ooh, nearly dropped it. Shuffle your deck afterward. You can't use this card during your first turn or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn. So it's basically just a free evolution, I think. But if you don't have the evolution card on hand, you can use the Evosoda and find it and then evolve. And we'll go back down here. We've got Water Energy. Another Furfrou. Duskull. Psychic Energy. Esper. Water Energy. Oh. A Pokeball. I love the Pokeballs. It's all I ever try to use when I'm playing the games. Flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for a Pokemon. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So that's not too bad, that one. It just lets you find a Pokemon that you're looking for. And finally, another Professor's Letter. So I'm just going to pack all these back up best I can. And I'll pop them back in the box. So there we have the Meowstic based Mystic Typhoon deck. There's a lot of Pokemon in there that I typically wouldn't use, but it's good to see some lesser known ones getting the spotlight. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I can dig out my original Pokemon card collection and we can go through that. But until then, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.